is literally like the worst Starbucks coffee I've ever had in my entire life. Hi, hello, my name is Madison. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. It is officially March 31st, which means it's time to do a wrap up of everything that I read in the month. I don't know what I did to the book gods this month, but I had the creme de la creme of books this month. I don't think I've ever rated this many books in a month this high. This is the month that I like officially entered my book girly era. I've been like slowly getting back into reading, but this like last 2 months I've been reading nonstop. It's like literally the only thing I do, and I started posting about it and you guys seemed interested. So I have been doing some reading vlogs. Those are coming soon, which has been making me feel so creative again lately, which is so nice because I have been off of this app for a very long time trying to figure out like what I want to do and what I want to make. So I'm excited to be back. So expect lots of book content coming soon. I have some stuff filmed and a lot coming. I have so many ideas. It's so like fun to be full of ideas again, and I'm excited to be a part of this little community. And with that said, let's get into my reading wrap up of May. Starting off super strong, we have the last half of what's out from ACOTAR so far. I whipped through the series. I was not anticipating to like this so much. This is like my first real fantasy series. I started ACOTAR and A Court of Mist and Fury in April, and then this was what I had left for May. I whipped through these, I want to say, in like a week, which is insane because this is like 1,200 pages of literature, but this series was so good. It was so good. I'm like patiently waiting for the next book to come out. Apparently it's not gonna be till 2024. If you somehow don't know anything about the ACOTAR series, it's basically about a human girl where there's like a wall that separates the Fae from the humans, and the humans are very scared of the Fae, and something happened and she ends up being brought across the wall, and there's like a love story. I don't really know how to explain these books. It's basically like a Fae-based fantasy, and yeah, I'll break down my opinions on all of them really quick because if you're watching this, you've probably already read these. I annotated the shit out of these books. There are so many moments in here. It's so beautifully written, and just like I've never felt this emotionally attached to a set of characters. That's a lie. The Magnolia Parks universe will forever be my like Chef's Kiss perfect series for me. This is like a very close second. I think it's starting a new fantasy girl era for me. I think that this one like might be, I can't even say it's my favorite because they were all so good, but until this point this was the best one. I gave A Court of Mist and Fury 5 stars, and then I read this and it was somehow better, so I went back and changed the other one to make it like 4.5 because this just like needed to be a different star rating. If you haven't read the series, definitely read this series. This was like the first 5 out of 5. I honestly didn't love ACOTAR. Like I enjoyed it, but I like wasn't invested yet, but as soon as I picked up the second one I was obsessed. So if you're thinking about reading the series, definitely do it. Next was the novella A Court of Frost and Starlight, and this gets a lot of hate online, so I did not know what to expect, but I loved it. I thought it was cute. It's not like amazing. It's nice to see after all the chaos of this and that things are gonna be okay and just like there's things to live for, because at the end of this it feels like there's not a lot to live for. I'm not gonna lie. And last but not least from the series, A Court of Silver Flames. I did not think I needed 850 pages. 800 pages from Nesta's perspective, but oh my god did I loved this book more than I can even explain. There were so many quotes in this that I took pictures of and sent to my friends because just like they were so beautiful. I thought about this for so long after putting it down. I honestly don't think I can pick between Nesta and Feyre whose story I enjoy more, because this did something to me. I don't know what it did, but it did something. I also gave this 5 stars, like without a doubt, without even thinking about it. Went to Goodreads like 2 seconds later, 5 stars, done. Moving away from the ACOTAR series, the next thing we have is Meet Me at the Lake. When I had like 50 pages left in Silver Flames, I messaged my friend because I knew that she was reading this and I was going to buy books so that I wouldn't be like leaving that universe and like have nothing to like put my emotions into next. And she said she loved this, so I picked it up, and honestly I didn't love this. I really wanted to love this. It was hilarious because it was based in Toronto, so like the love interest went to U of T, which is like where I went to school. The main girl went to Ryerson in Toronto. She worked at a coffee shop at Yonge and Dundas. There were just like so many extremely Toronto things in this book. The book is centered around this girl whose mother just passed away, and she inherited her like Muskoka lakefront resort. She grew up there and she went to Toronto for school, and she had this like one 24-hour day with the love interest in this. And before her mother passed away, she hired a consultant 10 years later, and now that she's passed away, the consultant is coming back the next summer, and it is the guy that she spent that 24 hours with. It's a really cool concept. It definitely kind of feels like Second Chance, but it's like weird because they only had 24 hours together the first time, so it's giving love at first sight vibes, which is like not a trope that I can get behind. I just feel like less invested, and there was also just like so much miscommunication I felt like in the book. I just couldn't get into it. I wasn't rooting for the characters. I gave it 3 stars, but like almost solely for the summer lakefront vibes. That it was really well written, but I just like wasn't invested in the characters. I wasn't rooting for them, which is like what you want in a romance. The next book I read was Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, and I literally already gave it to my friend to read because I was that obsessed with it. I always forget how like quick I whip through Colleen Hoover books. It's just So good. It's basically about a girl whose mother passes away from a drug addiction. She ends up going to live with her dad on this like island in Texas. It has very much found family vibes. The love interest and like the love story in this was like so captivating. I could not put it down. Just such an easy, light summer read. I guess parts of it were kind of heartbreaking, but highly recommend. It was so good. I ended up giving this a 4.5. I don't know what it was. It just didn't give me that like 5-star feeling, but I literally couldn't put it down. I finished Meet Me by the Lake in a day and then picked that up and I finished it in a day. Next, I was like not ready to move on from Colleen Hoover, and the only other one I had at the time was Reminders of Him, and this book needs to come with like some intense trigger warnings in my opinion. It's basically about a mother who gets in a car accident and is at fault for the car accident, finds out that she's pregnant after she's pled guilty. She's been in jail now for I think 5 or 10 years, 8 years, some amount of time. Now she's come out and she really wants to reconnect with her daughter. And as soon as she moves back to her hometown, there's a guy that she meets there that is kind of connected to her daughter. This book left me in actual shambles. It comes with like some intense trigger warnings. I think if you're a mom, it would be very hard to read. I felt like very emotionally connected to the mother because I just like that feeling of wanting your child. I feel that with my dog, so I can't imagine it with a child. It was so easy to connect to the characters and you were rooting for her the whole time through. I feel like so many Colleen Hoover books are like just about the romance. Felt like it was equally as important that she like got her daughter back. I think I gave this 5 stars. Also, I'm not lying, this was like a really good reading month. Next, we have my first Abby Jimenez book, Yours Truly, which you're definitely supposed to read Part of Your World first. I read it later, which I'll get into that. But this book, I know a lot of people liked Part of Your World a lot more. This is like an intense miscommunication trope, but as like a diehard Magnolia Parks girly, I like can live for some miscommunication. There was like 1 or 2 chapters, in my opinion, too long of miscommunication where I was like, okay, let's talk and everything would be fine. Other than that, I was living for the miscommunication trope in this. It is dual perspective. It's basically about this main girl, Bree, who works in a hospital, and this new male doctor comes into the hospital, gets up on like a really bad foot with everyone. On his like very first day, like 6 of his patients die and everybody starts calling him Dr. Death, and then they like meet in a closet and start talking, and it turns out that he has like really severe anxiety, so they start writing letters back and forth and they both start looking forward to their letters. First like 30-40 pages I felt like I wasn't that invested yet and I thought it was gonna be like a 3 or 4, but as soon as they started writing letters to each other, I could not put it down. I was literally sitting in bed beside my friend sobbing reading it. I was so invested in their love story, I can't even explain it. Her portrayal of anxiety is just exactly how I feel anxiety, like those feelings that you just like cannot put into words. She somehow put into words. Also seeing it portrayed in a male character was just like such a breath of fresh air because it just feels like we only ever get that with female characters. And Jacob is just like the ultimate golden retriever boyfriend. I could not put this down. Immediately 5 stars. Next, I read the second book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series because I saw that the 2nd season was coming out, and I don't know what I was expecting because I didn't love the first book. I read it last summer and I didn't love it. The first one was like a little too YA for me. This one was just not that good, for lack of a better word. I really didn't care for it. I literally have like 2 tabs in here of moments or quotes that I liked. It happened over a span of like 2 or 3 days. It was really quick. It was very YA. I felt like I couldn't relate to anything. And I do really care about the storyline like after watching the show, so I really thought I was gonna love it, but it just kind of felt like nothing happened. I honestly didn't love The Summer I Turned Pretty, and I like It's Not Summer Without You even less. I think I gave it a 2.5, which is really low for me because I'm an easy writer. It wasn't like bad, I just didn't care that much. Next, I read my first thriller, which is insane because I'm a true crime girly to my core. It is like one of my only personality traits. And if you are a crime junkie or a big MFM girly, read this freaking book. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney was amazing. I just bought 4 more of her books, I think, 3 more. They're on my TBR for next month. I always knew I'd be the type of girly reading a thriller that I'd like try and guess what would happen. I wouldn't be able to just like turn off my brain and like enjoy the plot twists. I would always like anticipate them. And everybody on TikTok said you would not be able to anticipate the twists in this, and I could not anticipate the twists in this. It was blowing my mind. It's so beautifully written. Like, for it to be a thriller and like also be like so poetic, I can't ask for anything else in a book. This might be a 6-star read. I have like a list of 4 people that are already in line to borrow this because so good. Next, we have my second Abby Jimenez book, and it was the one you're supposed to read first, and I do definitely suggest you read it first. It's basically about Alexis and Daniel. Alexis's car breaks down in a small town and Daniel helps her tow her out, and it kind of buds from there, but she's a doctor and she lives a couple hours away and her family expects a lot of her, so it's like kind of like a It's kind of like a they want to make it work but like they don't know how to kind of vibe. I love Abby Jimenez's writing. I think that she's gonna like slowly become one of my favorite authors the more that I read her. Her worlds are just like so easy to fall into. There were so many moments in this that are like little small connections to Yours Truly. Bree in the second book is actually Alexis's best friend, and Alexis does show back up in Yours Truly. I think it definitely would mean more if you read them in order, but all of the like little odes between the books, like silly little moments and silly little connections, like places that they went to and like little inside jokes between them, meant just as much and felt like just as much as like the other way around. I just feel like you definitely should read them in order. This just honestly didn't give me that like full 5-star feeling. I gave it a 4.5, maybe like a 4.75. The duology so far together, I would give 5 out of 5. I was not lying to you guys when I said that this was a really good reading month. I don't know, I haven't read these books yet, but oh my goodness, am I already obsessed with these characters. This is the first in the Dreamland Billionaire series. It's called The Fine Print. It's by Lauren Asher. It's basically about these brothers and their grandfather passed away. He started like a Disney type brand. Think of it basically as Disney. It's like streaming services, a big park, whatever. And when he passes away, they each have a task to complete to get their shares of the company. There's 3 books, and I'm pretty sure the other 2 books are about his brothers. I cannot imagine what else it would be about. In this one, Rowan's task is to take over the big park and like get his sparkle back and be creative again. And in the process, he meets a girl. What else do we expect? Their whirlwind is just impossible to put down. I read this so quickly. I was reading this with like one of my best friends, and I swear we were like both texting each other back and forth like, are you on this page yet? Because oh my god, have you read this yet? Have you gotten here? So good. This is another one that like I honestly think this could be a 6-star read. I already have terms and condition and final offer on their way now for my TBR. I think that I need to immediately pick them up the second that I get here, because just exuberant shows of wealth in books is just like my favorite thing to read. It's like, you're right, I can't get on a private jet, but you can, and I'm imagining it and I'm loving it for you, babe. Last but not least, we have a cult favorite, 11 Other Words by Christina Lauren. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I didn't love this. I thought her writing was so beautiful. Honestly, halfway through, I was really invested, and I don't know if I just like wasn't in the headspace for it or what's up, because I know so many people love and adore this book and think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I just wasn't that invested in them. I felt like the inclusion was really good, the writing was really good. I just like wasn't really rooting for them. It's like literally 400 pages, but the storyline feels like it was like 150 pages. Felt like there wasn't enough context to like fully understand what's going on, if that makes sense. It jumps through time a lot. It's in Macy's perspective, and it's basically about a girl whose mother passes away when she's really young, and her mother leaves like a list of things for her father to do as Macy's growing up, and one of the things is to go on weekend vacations when Macy starts getting exhausted from school. They end up buying like a cottage house, and her neighbor ends up being Elliot. Some stuff goes down and they don't see each other for I think it is 12 years, and now they've met back up. It's very much second chance. It's very much like kismet. It is a very adorable vibe, and I usually love when storylines show us what happened in the past in second chance romances instead of just like telling us what happened in the past. There was something about it jumping around through time to 10 years ago to the future, and then also the individual storylines were jumping a lot. So like you'd be in the 10-year ago timeline in August of 2012, and then like in December of 2013 the next time you read about it, and then in the present tense you'd be in like October where they re-met up, and then it like jumped to December. And it just felt like there was a lot of like holes. It felt kind of hard to follow. I don't know if I just like wasn't in the headspace for it. I really thought I was gonna love this book, so I feel like I kind of want to give this another chance in like a year and like see if I'm prepared for it, because so many people give this amazing ratings. But this was honestly like a 3.75, maybe 4-star for me. I understand why people love it so much. Like I really understand how you could get invested in these characters. There was just something about it that I just wasn't that invested. And that was officially the 12 books that I read in May. It's March, oh my god. May. No, it's May. I don't know what I did to get such a good bunch of books this month, but I'm banking on June being just as good, because I do not want to go on a reading slump anytime soon. The weather is good. I want to read every day all the time. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye. I don't know how I'm gonna get a thumbnail with all of these. Ah!